Hi, my name is Jinso and I show you the BuildOrderHelper tool I built. So first of all, you download the tool, and then you have a folder with this right here. If you start BuildOrderHelper, it is, as you see, Firefox HTML. It starts just in your normal browser. So if you use Google Chrome, it will use Google Chrome, etc., etc. What else is in here? Icons, basically for all the human stuff, buildings, units, upgrades, orgs, and so on, so on. So this is just images. Here you have build orders. Those are JSON files you can import to, use a build order from someone else. You just download a JSON file, import it, and it will show the build order. I will show you later how this works. First of all, you will click this, and it opens the build order helper in your browser. First of all, what you do is you select your race. For me, it's human. Then you see here a timer. It starts at -5, so I start basically the tool when I'm in the loading screen, and then it will continue to show in the timeline what I should do next. You can either click the start button, or you could use the middle mouse key or a hotkey. For me, it's the middle mouse key. I select it. You can click here and select a key that you are comfortable with. Then you can click on reset. So it's basically resets the timer to -5. Yeah. So when you start the timer, it goes from left to right. It shows basically here I need to train 2 workers and 1 altar. Then the next thing I would do is build the barracks and leave space for farming. All the text I typed in, so you can fully customize everything that's shown here. Next thing I should do is build a farm and leave opening. Then when it goes to the circle, it starts the next one. Okay, build the second farm, and all the workers that building go to wood. So I know, okay, this is what I need to do next. Then fill up your gold mine with the next worker, etc., etc. Like as I said, it's fully customizable. Here you see the build order log. You see here the previous ones that, like for example, here is the first tab, train 2 workers, 1 builds altar, 4 to gold. And yeah, we are right now here, and those are the next steps. It shows only 11 steps, so when we continue going, the first one will disappear and the next one will go on. So now we click on the editor. Here you can basically customize your build order. First of all, the start delay up here, you can choose how many start delay you want. I start with 5 seconds. You can also type 0, so you don't have any delays. I want to do 5. Then you can export your JSON file. So everything that you created here, you can export as a JSON file and later import it as a JSON file if you click here. So let's just say I import something. For example, here the undead grubby test I just did. And then you see, okay, he just fills everything, like all the icons and all the text and so on. The question mark is here because I selected human. If I switch to undead, go to edit, and then you see all the icons are correctly. So that's important to choose the race you wanted to do. Let's switch to human again. Then instead of import, you can also let the tool select a folder. So I click here, and then you see desktop, then the tool build order helper, and in the build order helper you have build orders. Those are the JSON files I showed you earlier. You say, okay, choose this folder. Then the tool asks you if you allow it. Then you click this one. And then here you can manually select, for example, the undead grubby build. The test I showed you, of course, you need to change your race. or you can just choose the human. So you could basically make 5 human build orders, something like Pala rifle, standard build, etc., etc. And then you can quickly switch here. Custom icons, you can do the same, but with, like for example, here you have all the icons, right? From the normal human, you have buildings, units, upgrades, tavern heroes, neutral units, items, and resources. Something like gold mine, gold wood, a spacer, which is just a blank, just, yeah. And then here you have here customizable icons. You can put them into icons and then custom. And then everything you put in there should theoretically also show on the bottom here, like custom, if you set custom icons, if you click this. Let's reset the build order. So this shows a completely blank build order. What you do now is you add a row, then you say the time in seconds on which the row will show. So for example, we start at 10 seconds. Then let's say we need 100 gold and 50 wood for something, and we are on supply 5 that we have spent, and this is the supply maximum is like 12. Then here with new action we say train worker, for example, and then we go and select, for example, the peasant. Then I can, for example, I want to train 2 workers, and for visibility you can also click the plus icon, so you can do a lot of icons as much as you want. So you can, for example, do 2 peasants, and then with a minus you can delete the icons. Then you go to save and apply, and then you see the first thing we do here is at 10 seconds we need 100 gold, 50 wood, and we are on supply 5 of 12. And the thing we need to do is train 2 workers. That's why I, for example, made 2 worker icons. Then you can add a row and then say, okay, at 15 you don't need gold and wood, but you are at supply 6 of 12, and you need an altar very quickly. So you click Altar of Kings, save, and then you see it doesn't show gold or wood, it just shows the supplies. So 6 out of 12, and then it shows the altar. And when we let the tool run on the timeline, you'll see when it hits the circle, it will show the next one. It should say altar, as shown in here, like this. And then you see upcoming actions is altar, everything that you just typed in. So for example, this is a build order I want to save, so I export it as a JSON file. Then I get to download it, then I put it into the build orders, and then as those 2 I could just import them, or via the folder you can just import them and then switch easily, like from the undeads and so on. So yeah, this is basically how the tool works. I would love some feedback and any suggestions. My suggestion that I will do in the future maybe is add sound effects. So for example, when I say right here, I need a sound effect because I need something to, I don't have concentration to look at the second monitor or anything. So it makes a sound effect like in some World of Warcraft add-ons that I know, okay, now I need to like upgrade some units or tech to 2 or anything. Yeah, that is my suggestion. If you have any other suggestions, please let me know. And as I said, I would love some feedback. Thanks.